Ciao, welcome back to our Italian course for beginners. This is lesson 7, Lezione Sette. Today we're going to have a little break from the grammar and all the grammar terminology and sentence structure and verbs and words. We're going to do something a little bit easier, which is the alphabet and pronunciation. I hope it is easier. By the way, so talking about alphabet is very similar to the one that is used in English. We do have less letters, but we have the same sounds. In fact, we have a few different ones from English. Also, I'm going to say now, in Italian, we do not have the word for spelling. So, as you know, Italian and English are very different languages. In fact, the complete opposite, probably. In Italian, the certain letters, in fact, the letters are pronounced always in a certain way. So there are no exceptions. It's not that you find a word and you guess how to read it, like you can do sometimes in English. How am I going to read this? How am I going to sort this word? What am I going to do with this? How do I spell it? How do you spell this word? You will never have to ask this question when you're talking about Italian, because every sound is written in a very, very specific way. In fact, in Italian, we do not have the word for spelling. You learn the word to spell or to do the spelling using the English word when you learn English. And we are taught in school that this is what English people ask when they want to know how to write a word in their language. So it is quite interesting that some people claim to not to be very good at spelling. This cannot happen in Italian. You can never say, oh, I'm not very good at writing. That's how you'd have to say it. I'm not very good at writing. What do you mean? Have you not been in school? What happened? Why are you not good at writing? And obviously everything online now does not help, because people don't write anymore. We depend on computers. They do a lot of work for us. But I'll take this opportunity to remind you, especially when you're learning new words, make an effort to observe how this word is written. And if you can, especially words that you find difficult to remember, or to remember how they are written, copy it. Make sure that the source you're copying the word from is obviously accurate and correct. So look at the letters and copy them, and try and memorize the words that you have written yourself. It does make a difference, and it does help memorizing a word when you have written it yourself. So no word for spelling in Italian. We don't need to spell anything. When we hear a word, we know how to write it. Yeah, we are lucky, I guess. If we don't have all those mysteries of strange combination of letters, for example, that you have in English, that makes a little bit more challenging learning. In Italian, as I said, we don't have this. So this is good news. Right, let's share the document I have prepared and see what we have. So we have alfabeto e pronuncia. As you can see, I said we have more or less the same letters, but we have 5 letters less than you have in English. I always forget which ones they are more or less. It's J, K, and then W, Y, X. We don't have these words. We call them, no words, we don't have those letters. We call them foreign letters. So we don't have Italian words with those letters. Obviously, we know they exist. If we see them, we know how to read them. And what did I want to say about those letters? And yes, we do have words which are English, originally English, but we use in Italian. I'm going to say something like yacht, whiskey, yoga, English or international words that we use also in Italian, and we do write them with those letters, even if they're not part of our alphabet. So I'm going to pronounce the alphabet, each letter one by one, even if, remember, as I said, we don't do spelling, but for whichever reason, if you want to say the alphabet loud, this is how you're going to say it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, Z. So more or less they're pronounced in the same way, more or less. And we do have a few letters that can be a little bit more challenging for not just English people, but in general, people studying the language. We'll see. So those are certain combinations of letters together, which we're not going to see today. I'm going to do two separate videos. Otherwise it gets a little bit too long. So today we are only going to see some examples. I'm going to start with the vowels. So vowels are very different. The pronunciation is very different from English. In English, in each vowels, often you have two sounds, or sometimes also a sound which is an in-between sound, let's call it. This is not really technical terminology. Instead, and sometimes it's actually very subtle difference. So the same letter, you can read it in two different ways. I'm talking about single letters, vowels in particular. And also in English, different combinations of vowels have different sounds. In Italian, this does not happen. In Italian, each vowel is pronounced and each vowel has always the same sound. Yay. So the best thing is perhaps to associate a letter or a vowel in particular, we're talking about vowels now, to a word that you know for sure this is how this word is pronounced. So in general, let's say that the vowels in the Italian language are open vowels, and it's a short sound. It's not a prolongated sound, like, as I said, in English, sometimes in some words, the vowels have two sounds and they're a little bit longer. In Italian, it's just a brief sound. So this is A. So think about perhaps apple. You can think about Anna, the name Anna. This one is E. Technically, there are two different sounds for E, but in Italian it doesn't really make a difference. We don't necessarily make the difference of the open or closed E like you have in French with the different accents. In Italian, luckily, we don't really worry too much about the different pronunciation of E. So these are like eggs, for example. And then we have the letter E. It doesn't matter if you pronounce E or E. It doesn't make a difference at all. So do whatever you want with it, as long as the letter E and the letter E sounds different, because very often English speakers pronounce them very, very close. I'm talking about when they're speaking Italian. This is E and this is E. If you want, you can practice. If you find it difficult, you can practice pronouncing the E as an open E. For example, you put your mouth as if you were pronouncing A. Instead, you say E. So this is E, which is not A. A, E, E. So the mouth gets closer, more closed, as you say these letters. These A, these E, these E. And then we have O, and then we have U. So these letters, these vowels are always pronounced in the same way. And only rarely you cannot hear the sound, and only of the letter E we'll see the cases separately, so in a separate video. Otherwise, when you have them, you read them. Now, what I've done, I've written a couple of words. The first one, a little bit of a joke, not a joke, just for a laugh. This word, you have all the vowels and you need to pronounce all of them. I'll pronounce it slowly. Aiuole. So it's aiuole, aiuole, aiuole. All of them, all 5 vowels, and you pronounce all of them. And then I've chosen this word because for some reason it does, I don't know why, I don't know, causes some problems for some. This means, in fact, aiuole, nothing exciting. Luckily, you're not going to use it very, very often. Aiuole are the beds, flower beds. So don't worry too much about this word. Do worry about the second one. Grazie means thank you, thanks. And you have to pronounce each vowel. As I said, so the A, which doesn't present any problems. However, the last 2 for some reason do. The first vowel you have here is E. The last one is E. Grazie, grazie, grazie. It is not grazie, never. It is not grazia, never. It is grazie. Nothing else. There are no other options, no other ways to pronounce this word. Grazie. Pronounce all the vowels you have, and pronounce only the vowels you have. One example that I've chosen, because it's not too complicated, from the alphabet today, as I said, I will do the others separately, is the letter S, which is esse. So the letter esse, or S, we can pronounce in 2 different ways. We can pronounce with the sound S, or we can pronounce with the sound Z, like a rose. Like, for example, the name Ross and the flower rose. So this one's in square brackets is the sound. It's not how we write them. So the sound S is when you have double S, which you can only have between 2 vowels. You pronounce it scassa. Another example is rossa, the color, for example. Oh, now I'm going to change. Let me see, I'm going to add it in here. Rossa. which is a color red. So double S between two vowels is pronounced S. Instead, one S between two vowels is pronounced Z. Casa, casa. Another example, incidentally, rosa, which is the rose, the flower. So this is cassa, this is casa. Rossa, rosa. If you get it wrong, if you pronounce it differently, you're saying a different word. Cassa, casa. Rossa, rosa. Then we pronounce the S with the sound S in front of this consonant, like scuola, for example, etc. So in front of this, the CFPT. We do have a few words. Doesn't matter now finding words, but so you pronounce the letter S with this sound S in front of this consonant. Instead, you'll pronounce the letter S with the sound Z in front of the other consonant. So the other consonants will be B, D, R, L, N, M, etc. So I didn't write the whole list. I only wrote the shorter list, which is where the letter S is pronounced S. The other consonant in front of the other consonants, the letter S is pronounced as Z, like a Z in English. The reason why I wrote buona sera here, I have made this example before, but I wanted to say it again. Buonasera means good evening. It is two words, buona sera. So maybe I could, I don't want to make it too complicated when it's not, but as you have it here, the letter S is pronounced S in front of every vowel. At the beginning, when the word starts with an S, not in between vowels. No, I'm making it complicated. So this is buona sera. As I said before in a separate lesson, sometimes you find the whole word attached into, in fact, the two different words attached into one word only. And some fall into the trap of, well, it is a trap because some people want to apply this rule. Well, I have the S between two vowels. Well done for recognizing it, actually. However, this is, it's only oh, I can't think of a good word, actually. It's an option. Having this word attached into one word instead of two is an option, and the pronunciation does not change. So whenever if you have this greeting in two separate words or one, the pronunciation is always the same. Buonasera, not buonasera. Buonasera, always. Do not memorize the sound that I've just made. Right. So, little recap. We have 21 letters. The 5 letters they are missing from here we call foreign letters. However, we know that they exist. We use them. We use them in the foreign words, like, as I said, yoga, yacht, whiskey. We've seen the sound of the vowels. We've seen a couple of examples, and I have picked one letter in particular, a consonant, which can present some, not necessarily difficulties, but it is pronounced a little bit different in English. I will stop here. As I said, I will continue with the alphabet and pronunciation on a separate lesson, which will be lesson 8, lezione 8. I hope this has been useful so far. And as usual, thank you very much for subscribing, liking, and making comments. And let me know how you're finding this course. And I will see you next time. It will be, as I said, lesson 8, lezione 8. Arrivederci, ciao.